Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, June the 30th, last day of the month. Onwards to July. So, how is everybody this morning? I see lots of love and loving friendliness directed towards Adil in the chat. So, sorry to hear that you and your family have COVID, but at least it's mild. So, hopefully it passes before too long. So, just a programming note this morning, our internet providers due to be here at any moment to help fix our cable connection. So, and I've asked them to hold off until 8:30. But if suddenly the screen goes black, I haven't been attacked by a bear. It's a local service person coming to help fix things in a more durable way. We did our job with electrical tape and chicken wire to kind of patch things together the other day, but we're needing a bit more lasting sort of fix. So I've asked them to hold off until 8:30 if they can. If they can't, I might suddenly disappear. So just a reminder, everybody, we made a little change in our evening meditation chanting sessions. And for the next little bit, we're going to be doing the 3 Cardinal Sutras. So we did the Buddha's first discourse, the Dhammacakkappavattana, last couple nights. Might do it again tonight. Sometimes it's good to chant the same thing several nights in a row to kind of get into it a little bit better. So, and myself and Venerable Rikitu are still trying to learn how to harmonize. It's a challenge with just 2, actually. If either one of us stops to clear the throat or gets a little lost following the chanting or something, it tends to flounder. But so the little programming note there. And this morning I listened again to Ajahn Sona's first talk in the Jhāna series. Something I recommend doing. Listen to something, give it a little time, come back, listen to it again. Most talks and almost every good talk has features that we don't really pick up on sometimes the first kind of pass through. And we're just in a different place sometimes and hear things a little differently. So this morning before we did our morning meditation and chanting, I was doing some walking back and forth and listening to Ajahn's newest kind of talk. And the thing that touched me listening to it this morning was towards the end, where he's talking about being in love with humanity. And it caught my attention the first time, and there's something about that emotional spirit of positivity that's there when our heart is full of love for humanity, our fellow human beings, and I would say even more broadly, all beings, all that is, life as we know it. I know many of you are nature lovers, in the same way that I am. And when the afflictive emotions are not upon one and weighing one down, one can feel even this kind of profound love for the whole earth, for the trees, the rocks, the streams, every little leaf, clouds, mountains, rivers. And when I was listening to it this morning, I thought of just inspiring spiritual figures and just really the best of humanity. And a person who manifests that clear-sighted but loving embrace for other humans and other beings, and indeed maybe all humanity. It's such a beautiful image and like something to aspire to. We often talk about love being blind, but this is a very trivial kind of love, or an early love. My own sort of notion is that love that is more profound is includes being seen and being known. And implicit in that is acceptance, I think. To really see, to know, to understand. It's only then that we can really open up into the fullness or the profundity of a deep and mature, and I would say spiritual love for humanity. And this work, cultivating goodness, cultivating the path, and in particular, learning how to overcome the afflictive habits, the hindrances, our own cognitive and emotional habits to get stuck in obstructive, and anything that obstructs that kind of process. Really should be overcome. I mean, we should learn to sort of seize the opportunity and see the goodness, and moving towards a place where we can embody that experience of loving self and others and all living beings with great lucidity, wisdom, clarity. To me, it's a very powerful image of what it means to be spiritually mature as a human being, and to be. Ajahn was talking also about giving a gift to oneself. And of course, this would be the greatest gift to self, but also self and others. Just think of even the brief images or clips or experiences that one has had, and what it's like to be in the presence of somebody who has this wise love for self and others and all beings. It's a beautiful and inspiring goal for us. And we should be on our guard to the obstacles, the hindrances, even the distractions. It's like as practitioners, we can touch that, or we can experience that sort of state, but how long does it take for us to get distracted in something that isn't all that important in the long run, or that is preventing us from kind of connecting with a much more profound sort of way of being. So anyway, my encouragement for today is to go back, listen to that talk again, and see what unexplored gem there is in that. It's nice to have some particular sort of theme that one's giving some sort of regular time to. And during this time where Ajahns offering these talks, it's nice maybe to come back again and again to these things, re-listen to them, keep them in mind, recollect, remember, turn them over, ponder them, reflect on how they speak to your own experience and your own aspirations. So, okay, well, let me turn to the chat here. So I have to say I have not been the best at catching everybody's questions and everything, so I appreciate your patience and help. Let's see. I see something here from Gustavo. Good morning, Gustavo. Bante, the first precept speaks of not killing living beings on purpose. As for vaccines, would that be allowed since viruses or bacteria have no conscience? Yeah, vaccines and antibiotics wouldn't kind of transgress the first precept. Viruses are curious things. Like, they're not, my understanding is they're not actually living beings. They're just RNA. So, but they exhibit being-like or life-like characteristics and their ability to adapt and spread or something, I guess. But Buddha was very practical. So the first precept, panatipata, panatipata. You don't find this in formulations of the 5 precepts, but in the details of the monastic code, there's great detail in what it is that constitutes the taking of life, and the practicality of it is that we can't be responsible for things that we can't see. So bacteria and viruses, and really it needs to be something about the size of a bed bug, or it can be a tiny creature, but it needs to be something that we can apprehend with the eye and recognize as a living being. And generally it needs to be something that respirates too, but pretty much all life respirates in some way. So and then there's a few like little interesting tidbits in the Vinaya where the monks are kind of wondering if wiping the mold off the inside of one of the dwellings is taking life, because they could recognize this is a life form, and it's not. So, and that's primarily because it's not a being of a certain class, but also I think there's just a kind of practicality. One has to live in the world. So, okay, and good morning, Sumana. Gratitude for yesterday's spiritual interventions. Much cleaning of this place and of more settled sits between since. It's good to hear. So, keep at it. This is 2020 is proving to be a year not to be heedless, looking after ourselves and others. Very important. I saw something on the internet a couple days ago. It was like a T-shirt or something that somebody was advertising, and it had 2020, and then there was like a 5-star rating with just 1 star. That was funny. But it's all what you make out of it. We're faced with great challenges this year, great change. So, and one doesn't want to be heedless, but also you don't want to be too pessimistic or morose about it. It's just change, challenge, and change. So, let's see. Good morning, Linda. Regarding Ajahn video, can you speak to his point about using the sutta stories? I'm a little vague on the specifics now. We'll re-listen, but I remember being struck by this. I didn't. Okay, I think what you're referring to there, Linda, is he's talking about the Buddha's story, the Buddha's own kind of story, and in particular this turn away from asceticism, and Buddha Ajahn Sona sort of talking about how the that's like trying too hard, and it was kind of in the context of he's giving some really beautiful encouragement that counters this tendency for us to think that this is too hard. And he links that up to sort of the practice of asceticism. Of course, that's not just trying too hard, that's being misinformed. And many people in his day and age, and even today, have some misguided notions that asceticism and bitter practices are spiritually efficacious. So, and it's finally seeing the limitation of that and how that does not accomplish what the Buddha was seeking to accomplish, that he turns to his humanity, starts to take food. His body had become so weak. He was treating himself in a way that was inhumane. He returns to loving kindness and being a good steward for the body and taking nourishment, which of course leads his friends who are still devoted to the ascetic practices to feel like he's given up. So I hope I've got that right, but I think that's what you're referring to, Linda, and if it's not, correct me. I'll have to go back and listen to it. So it's possible he mentions something else about sutta stories in there that I didn't pick up on yet. So okay, well, any other sharings or questions? If not, I might wind this up a little bit early today so we can get our connections fixed here. Okay, well, let's leave it at that today, friends, and I wish you all well. We're going to keep it a little bit short. Bear with it. And again, our good wishes and loving kindness goes out to Adil and his family. They're getting their virus upgrades before some of the rest of us. So bear with it. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. So be well, friends. Have a good day.